In this video, we are going to take a look at the creation of general arrangement drawings. As you can see in this model, we already have the complete model, and we have a reference concrete structure underneath our steel structure. We can see that it is a reference file, which is our concrete. We can see it's delimiting our concrete level. If I turn it off, there is no more concrete. We will keep the concrete on. In order to create our 2D drawing, we have prepared our model already, where we have created a sheet. Our sheet contains a reference border, and we are going to place here our 2D drawings. The 2D drawings will actually be inserted in a 2D insert model, which will then be referenced into our sheet. We can see our 2D reference model is completely empty right now. To process our 2D drawing, we need to open what is called the Detail Center. Now, the Detail Center is located in the ProStructures tasks under the G letter. When you click on this Detail Center, you simply open the Detail Center, which will load with whatever styles were already generated for this particular model. In my case, as we can see, I already have a few styles loaded. I'm not going to worry about fabrication. I'm going to worry about general arrangements, plans and elevations. As we can see, I have already also assigned these to 2 plan views and 2 elevations, which are the elevations on the 2 back views, and each floor view have been already assigned these styles. Now, these styles are also already properly set up to create the proper view. We will take a look at what they look like by going to the View tab, where we can actually take a quick peek at what the actual view is going to look like. So if we look at the top view, which is the top roof, this is what we get as a result, where the rules that are creating this view can be controlled through the Edit style, and this is where we set up at what scale we want to see our elements. That controls the text size. We can control the bubbles that are being shown and the way we want to see our members, which are just in stick line for some, and as we can see, some members here on the side are full line, double line. Now, all of this is controlled through the object display rules, where we have all these rules set up. I could tell it I don't want to see the grading anymore. In that case, I just need to disable the grading display and tell it to refresh. Now, keep in mind, this is just a preview. It's not my final drawing, so it will just create another snapshot of what it's going to look like without the grading. Let's keep the grading out of this drawing. So let's just bring a quick elevation view to see how it looks. Once the view comes up, we can then go and edit the detail style. I'm going to leave it as it is right now, but you can see that I have my concrete as a reference also showing with the rebars in it. I could have disabled the rebars and just have the concrete contour. And I have my bracing shown as single line, same thing for the handrails, but I've got my columns and beams in double lined. So let's say we are satisfied with all of these plans and elevations, then we just need to transfer them to the Insert tab. So I'll just grab them all and send them to the next tab. This takes a couple of seconds to process. All of these will turn to color blue, telling me that they are ready to be inserted. Now that they're all blue, I can go to the Insert tab and I can notice that all of these views are here ready to be inserted. Now, to insert, I need to go to the proper page, and this is not going to be inserted in this model. I'm going to insert it into another model. Now, keep in mind, this model is inside of the same DGN file, but I could have this inside of another DGN file. It doesn't need to be all inside of the same file. Now that I'm inside of this model, I can select all the views that I want to insert, and I'm going to pick them all. Oops. And I'm going to insert them into this model. Now, it will show me a preview at the 0, coordinates, but then it's at the end of my mouse where I can actually just tell it where I want to insert all these views. Now, this is going to be a plan view. I'll put it here. Then I get the other elevation, which I'll put right here. And I'll get the other plan view, which I'll put, actually I'll put it over here. And that doesn't really matter where it's placed. Once it's all placed, you can always move them by simply clicking them and just move the views if you're not satisfied of their actual location. I'm going to keep them where they are. And the next thing to do is to actually go to the sheet. Now in the sheet, I will simply have to tell it where do I want to place those views. So I could place them one by one or all together if they have been properly laid out. So the trick here is to add a new reference. So I need to add a new reference, and that's going to be from the same drawing, the same DGN, from the insert model at scale. This is actually at scale 1:48, so that's a 1/4 inch to a foot. And I say OK. And notice how it brings my elements. And there is my drawing. I can still move it a little bit. Something like that. And there is my 2D drawing. Now, the next step to look at, the last thing we're going to look at, is the updating of these drawings when there's a change. So I'm going to go back to my model. I'm going to close the detail center. I'm just going to save my file. And then I'm going to reload the detail center just to show you that the color has changed from blue. Remember, the views were blue. Now the views are going to be tagged in green, telling me that these drawings are up to date in the 2D drawing. If I expand views, notice how these 4 are shown in green. Now I'm going to make a change to one element. Let's say I'm going to change this beam. This beam is a W18 by 35. I'm going to change it to be a W30 by 90. So we can see it's a lot bigger. If I accept that and I reload my detail center, we will see that this will have automatically triggered the change of color of some of these views. We can now see that 3 out of the 4 views have changed to red, telling me you need to update these views because that beam is seen in these 4 views. The back view, we see it as a cross section. The side view, we see it in its length, and obviously the top view we see laid down. To update this, I just select the 3 drawings that are not green. I right click and I say update to the drawing. And then we just wait for the process to go through and all these views will turn back to green. Notice how now the views are back to all green. And if we go to the insert page first, we can see that the beam has been modified. On the elevation also we can see it's a lot bigger. And on the plan view it changed here to a bigger beam. Obviously going to the sheet will be the same result because the sheet is just a reference of this page we just looked at. So we can see it is a bigger beam and it is a bigger beam up here. And this takes care of the general arrangement placement of drawings.